So, why do many dealerships still struggle with hiring the right people?
The job is hard, and so it's hard to find somebody that will go with it. You think car salespeople are tough, customers are tough. They come in and there's a lot of hours. The customers are tough. It's super easy to sell a
Right.
car, and the customers are super nice if you treat them the right way. But if you do anything weird, the customers get weird really fast. So a lot of
Oh,
hours.
right.
Customers are tough to deal with, and not everybody can make it through the pressure of commission sales.
Right. Right. So you have a lot of rotation.
Yeah,
Right.
I interviewed 100 people today for car sales jobs. Today, I'm on
Wow.
break right now. I got to interview 75 more today.
You you do one on one or do you do it in bulk?
Do it in a group, which is weird. But I have everybody stand up. They tell me their name. They tell me what they've done, and you can kind of tell. I turn a room of 50 into a room full of 10 in about 30 minutes.
Wow. And how do you do that?
You just when people stand up and they introduce themselves, you kind of get a vibe if they're going to be a good salesperson or not. We could be
Right.
wrong a lot too, but it's pretty easy to knock out 70% of them and say we just want to talk to this 30%.
Right. Just by the energy you can even tell, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I've seen I was involved in the enterprise world when I was hired by Microsoft, and they had so many great salespeople, right? It's a different
Yeah.
process, right? Because enterprise is longer term, right? But it was very interesting. Yeah, my first before that experience, my impression of the a salesperson was the sleazy salesperson like what is the movie Matilda, right? That was my my impression, and then from there I learned they're so customer focused and they were amazing, right?
Yeah, it takes a lot. It's hard to do. Those enterprise deals
Right.
take forever. You know, those enterprise deals take years sometimes. So
Yes, yes. So they were able to do the best recommendation for the customers, whether that would be a sales or not for them, right? They play the long game, and it would pay off, right? So the short term high opportunity kind of guy would be fired very quickly, right? Because it wouldn't work, right?
long term play.
Right, right. So I'm thinking something similar happens in car sales, right?
It's pretty short. People buy a car in 3 days usually,
Oh, really?
or
Interesting.
less. Yeah. Well, in America, you walk in, you buy a car right then. But usually, when people decide to buy, they usually do it in the first 72 hours.
Right, right. And the other thing I find interesting, I mean, I buy cars for a whole different reason than most people, but I find people buy it for the color, the looks,
What do you
and
do it for?
sorry.
Why do you buy cars?
So I analyze the technology first, and then I analyze the capacities, and then I don't care about looks, right? So yeah, and then if it depends on the type of vehicle, but for the
Type of guy
wall,
that dates girls
so
for their personality, I guess, huh?
sorry.
You're the type of guy that dates girls for their personality.
Right. Yeah. I see what you're getting. Yeah.
So you don't care about looks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, some, but I'd rather have a car that it's unusual, right? So
Yeah.
you know, so I have a Jeep that we're doing an engine swap, right? I have a motorcycle with a big engine, almost little, motorcycle because it's so much fun, right? But you look at it and it's kind of ugly, right? But
Yeah.
it drives fast, right?
There you go.
And then yeah, I mean it depends on what type of role I'm looking for a car, right? I bought a van. This was a very interesting van. Ram is announcing it now, the ProMaster, but it was here before via Peugeot. So 35 miles per gallon. Square, ugly, but hey, you could go 120 miles per hour, and just do 30 miles per gallon. That was great, right?
There you go.
So yeah, but people would see it and it was like, I don't know, the styling, I don't like the styling, blah blah blah, right? Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I don't buy the cars for the styling. I prioritize the
Yeah.
mechanics and all that stuff, right?
Nerd.
But of course, yes, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, baby.